You want to know what infuriates me about WWE right now? When a legend, an absolute icon who's given everything to this business for 3 decades, gets jumped by a group of cowards who wouldn't last 5 minutes in a fair fight. Rey Mysterio, the man who revolutionized what it means to be a high flyer, the 619 master himself, was getting destroyed by the Vision on Raw. And you know what the worst part is? WWE management just stood there and let it happen. They let these vultures pick apart a Hall of Famer like he was nothing. But then something happened that sent shockwaves through the entire WWE universe. Penta made his return, and what he did to save Rey Mysterio is something you need to see. This isn't just a rescue mission. This is the beginning of a war that's going to tear Monday Night Raw apart. Let me set the stage for you, because what went down on December 29, 2025 is already being called one of the most electrifying moments of the year, and we're literally just days into the new year. Rey Mysterio was in the ring, and the Vision, this faction of entitled, arrogant superstars who think they're reshaping WWE in their image, decided it was time to make an example out of the legendary luchador. Because that's what cowards do, right? They don't challenge you one-on-one. They don't earn their stripes the honorable way. No, they gather their little gang and attack when you're most vulnerable. The Vision had been circling Rey Mysterio for weeks, talking about how the old generation needs to step aside, how legends are holding back the future, how it's time for new blood to take over. Typical entitled rhetoric from people who haven't earned a fraction of what Rey has accomplished. And on this particular night, they decided words weren't enough. They wanted to physically remove Rey from the equation. Quick question for you. Do you think modern factions like the Vision actually have a point about legends taking spots? Or are they just making excuses for their own shortcomings? Drop your honest opinion in the comments, because I want to see where the WWE Universe stands on this. The assault started after Rey had just finished a grueling match. He was exhausted, vulnerable, and before he could even catch his breath, the Vision hit the ring like a pack of hyenas. 3, 4, maybe 5 members. Reports vary depending on who's telling the story, but the numbers don't really matter when you're talking about a coordinated attack on someone who's already spent. They beat him down in the corner, hitting him with everything they had. Stomps, kicks, strikes to the back of the head. It was brutal. It was unnecessary. And it was designed to send a message to every veteran on the roster. The crowd was losing their minds, chanting for someone, anyone, to come help. Where was Dominic? Where were Rey's allies? Where was WWE security? The answer is nowhere. Rey was alone, defenseless, and these jackals were treating him like a training dummy. One of the Vision members, I won't give them the satisfaction of naming them all, grabbed Rey and set him up for their signature move. The crowd knew what was coming. This wasn't just about winning. This was about humiliation. This was about ending a career. And then the lights went out. That pop from the crowd was deafening. In that moment of darkness, everyone knew something was about to happen. When the lights came back on, there he was, Penta, standing at the top of the ramp, arms crossed in that iconic pose, wearing his signature mask and gear. The entire arena erupted. This wasn't just any return. This was a statement return. Here's something I want you to answer. Did you mark out when Penta's music hit? Or were you one of the few who didn't see it coming? Be honest in the comments, because I want to know who called this moment. Penta didn't waste a single second. He sprinted down that ramp like a man possessed, slid into the ring, and immediately started throwing hands. The Vision didn't know what hit them. 1 second they were in complete control. The next second they had a lucha legend dismantling their entire operation. Penta hit a super kick on the first member, who rushed him. The second one caught a Canadian destroyer that had the crowd chanting "Holy" in unison. The third tried to grab Penta from behind, but Rey, who had just enough left in the tank, grabbed the ropes and pulled himself up to hit a desperate 619 that sent the attacker stumbling directly into Penta's finishing move. The chemistry between Rey Mysterio and Penta was instant. You could see it in how they moved together, how they anticipated each other's offense, how they created space for one another. This wasn't their first rodeo together. Anyone who's followed Lucha Libre knows these two have history that goes back years, across multiple promotions, in multiple countries. They've shared rings in Mexico. They've torn the house down in other companies. And now they were reuniting on the biggest stage in professional wrestling to fight off a common enemy. The Vision realized they'd bitten off more than they could chew. When it was 5-on-1 against an exhausted Rey Mysterio, they were tough guys. But now, with fresh reinforcements in the form of Penta, suddenly they wanted no part of this fight. They started backing up the ramp, regrouping, pointing fingers, and shouting threats about how this wasn't over. Classic heel behavior: talk big when you have the advantage, retreat when things get even. Penta grabbed a microphone. His accent was thick, his English was deliberate, but his message was crystal clear. You want to attack legends? You want to disrespect the foundations of this business? You just made enemies with the wrong luchadors. This is our house now. Rey Mysterio stood beside him, arm raised, and the crowd was absolutely electric. This wasn't just a tag team forming out of convenience. This was a partnership forged in respect, history, and mutual understanding of what it means to represent Lucha Libre on the global stage. Let me ask you this. Do you think Penta and Rey Mysterio should be the ones to take down the Vision? Or should WWE bring in even more reinforcements? Comment below with your booking ideas. Now let's talk about why this moment matters beyond just the shock value of Penta's return. First, this legitimizes the Vision as a credible threat. They're not just talk anymore, they put hands on Rey Mysterio, one of the most beloved figures in wrestling history. Second, Penta's return adds an entirely new dimension to Monday Night Raw. This is a man who's been tearing it up across the wrestling landscape, building his legend, perfecting his craft. And now he's arrived in WWE with momentum, credibility, and an immediate purpose. He's not here to work his way up from the bottom. He's not here to pay dues. He's here to fight alongside a legend and destroy anyone who disrespects what they represent. Third, this sets up what could be one of the most exciting tag team runs we've seen in years. Rey Mysterio is in the twilight of his career, but he's still got magic left. Penta is in his absolute prime, hungry, dangerous, and ready to prove he belongs on this stage. Together, they represent the past, present, and future of Lucha Libre. They're a bridge between generations, and they're going to put on absolute classics against anyone WWE puts in front of them. The backstage reactions after this segment were telling. Interviews with other superstars showed a mix of excitement and concern. Some people were thrilled to see Penta and celebrated the return of a lucha legend to help Rey. Others, particularly younger talent aligned with the Vision's philosophy, called it exactly what the Vision had been warning about: old guys bringing in their friends to hold on to relevance instead of letting new stars rise. That tension, that philosophical divide, is going to fuel incredible television for months. Because here's the thing, both sides have valid points. The Vision isn't entirely wrong that wrestling needs to evolve and new stars need opportunities. But they're going about it in the most disrespectful, cowardly way possible. Meanwhile, Rey and Penta aren't blocking anyone's rise. They're defending the honor and traditions of their culture and their craft against people who want to tear it all down without having earned the right. Another question for the comment section. If you were running Raw, would you book Penta and Rey to win the tag titles immediately, or make them chase the gold for a few months first? I'm curious about your fantasy booking. The implications for the Vision are massive too. Before this, they could pick their targets carefully, attack strategically, and retreat when necessary. But now they've awakened something they can't control. Penta doesn't back down. Rey Mysterio has fought through everything WWE has thrown at him for 3 decades. These two aren't going to be intimidated. They're not going to be bullied out of the company. They're going to fight back with everything they have, and the Vision better be ready for a war they might not win. Social media absolutely exploded after this segment. Penta was trending worldwide within minutes. Rey Mysterio's name was everywhere. The Vision became one of the most talked about factions in wrestling overnight. Wrestling media couldn't publish articles fast enough to keep up with the fan reaction. This is the kind of moment that creates momentum, that builds pay-per-view buy rates, that gets people who stopped watching to tune back in. And let's talk about the match quality we're about to witness. Penta is one of the most innovative, athletic, hard-hitting performers in the world. Rey Mysterio, even at this stage of his career, can still move like someone half his age when the moment demands it. Put them in the ring against the Vision's members, who, credit where it's due, are talented in their own right, and you're going to get absolute barn burners. High-flying lucha spots, stiff strikes, dramatic near falls, and storytelling that makes you actually care about who wins and loses. Here's something else to consider. This could be Rey Mysterio's final major storyline. The man is in his 50s, he's had more surgeries than most people have had birthdays, and every match could potentially be his last. Having Penta by his side. One more question before we wrap this up. What's your dream match involving Penta and Rey Mysterio against any tag team, past or present? Drop your fantasy matchups in the comments. The Raw after this return is going to be absolutely crucial. Will the Vision come out and demand a match? Will Penta and Rey issue an open challenge? Will WWE officials try to cool things down, or will they add gasoline to the fire by announcing a big tag team match for the next pay-per-view? Whatever direction they go, this storyline has captured the WWE Universe's imagination in a way few things have recently. What I love most about this angle is the respect it shows to lucha libre culture. WWE hasn't always handled luchadors perfectly. There have been missed opportunities, botched storylines, and moments where the unique aspects of Mexican wrestling tradition got lost in translation. But this feels right. This feels authentic. Rey Mysterio and Penta standing together, fighting for their legacy and their culture against people who want to erase history. That's powerful storytelling that transcends wrestling and becomes something meaningful. The Vision made a critical mistake on December 29th. They thought attacking Rey Mysterio would make them look strong, would establish them as the future, would prove their point about the old generation needing to move aside. Instead, they woke up a dragon. They brought Penta back to WWE. They created their own worst nightmare. And now they're going to have to deal with the consequences of their actions. Penta's return to aid Rey Mysterio isn't just a feel-good moment for lucha libre fans. It's not just a nostalgia pop for people who remember their work together in other companies. It's the foundation for what could be one of 2025's best storylines. It's got history, it's got emotion, it's got incredible in-ring potential, and it's got real stakes that make you invest in the outcome. The partnership between these two legends represents everything beautiful about professional wrestling. Respect for those who came before, celebration of cultural traditions, the passing of knowledge between generations, and the willingness to stand up and fight when everything you've built is threatened. That's not just good wrestling storytelling. That's universal storytelling that anyone can connect with regardless of whether they understand lucha libre history. So here's my final take. The Vision thought they were making a statement. They thought they were establishing dominance. Instead, they just guaranteed their own destruction. Penta and Rey Mysterio are coming for them, and hell is coming with them. The tag team division just got infinitely more interesting. Monday Night Raw just became must-see television again. And we're all here for it. Make sure you're subscribed to SUPLEX Ring Saga so you don't miss our continued coverage of this incredible storyline. Smash that like button if you marked out for Penta's return. And most importantly, get down in those comments and let me know everything you think about Penta returning to save Rey Mysterio, whether you think they can take down the Vision, and what you want to see happen next. Lucha Libre is back in WWE, and it's more powerful than ever. Arriba!